So when I was growing up, we ate the common fowl, the tough chicken that running around the place. That was what we had for, occasional Sunday dinner. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Source of Food, and if you're happening on this channel for the first time, this is where we talk about childhood memories. At least, I talk about my childhood memories. But I want you to chime in and add your 2 cents here and there in the comment section below. Um, you know, what life was like for you as a kid um, growing up. Like I said, I was born in rural Jamaica in the 60s, early 60s. So most of my memories go back to that time period, into the 70s and maybe touching the 80s a little bit. But generally speaking, 60s and 70s. So what I want to talk about today is, you know, what life was kind of like as it relates to some of the stuff we ate as kids. Not that the stuff that we ate were bad, but what was the norm then? So growing up as a kid, I can remember, man, that most homes in my little village back in Jamaica, most homes, most homeowners would grow, would raise chickens, right? Most times, most time these chickens were meant for eggs. Most of the time, for eggs, and occasionally a homeowner might sell one or two to another neighbors, somewhere else in the community, um, for that same purpose. These chickens, for the most part, were not eaten on a regular basis. They were not eaten on a regular basis. But sometimes, you know, we had to eat one. Yeah, sometimes we had to eat one of those those chickens. So if you grew up in Jamaica back in the 60s and beyond that, or not necessarily Jamaica, other parts of the Caribbean, other parts of the world, um, and you happen to have eaten domestic um, chickens, right? Domestic poultry, let's put it that way. You would, you can appreciate that the meat was totally different in terms of texture and taste, you know. Um, Taste more natural and everything, but what I can remember most, when I say what I'm comparing it with is the broiler chickens that are raised for meat. Like when I was attending my secondary school, we had a chicken farm, right? Right? Not a big one. We had a chicken house, put it that way. And in that house, maybe we would raise maybe about 500 chickens at a time. And we from, you know, so I was, as someone who was part of the agricultural program, my specialty then, um, I had to feed those chickens. I had to clean out the chicken house. I had to pluck chickens. Whatever it took. It was, that was how it was. But going back to the domestic chickens now, um, the meat was so much different from the ones that we would buy in the supermarket or grow, or the ones that we would um, be raising on the school property. And the difference was mainly in the hardness of the meat, man. The chickens that we had at home, man. When we as a kid back then in the 60s and 70s, when we slaughter or kill one of those chickens, and pluck one of those chickens, man, the meat was so tough. The meat was so tough. I used to, one other thing I recall the older people, the old folks used to do as a kid. They said, if you get some green papaya, the unripe papaya, right? And cook it with the chicken. It would kind of tenderize the meat somewhat. So there were people who used to do that, you know. There are people who used to do that. They would get a green papaya, and I guess the papaya has some kind of enzyme in it that would tenderize the chicken meat per se. But those domestic chickens, man, that we had at home, and when the opportunity came around that we were able to eat one of them, oh my goodness, the meat was so tough, tough like board. Yes, yeah. So I can recall as a kid, man, you know, my grandmother, my grandma would say, or my granddad say, okay, we're gonna we're gonna eat that one Sunday. Sunday we're gonna have that one for dinner, right? So I can recall, man, come around Sunday morning, we would chase down the chicken. It might be a hen, it might be a rooster, whatever. We would chase it down, and we chase down this chicken around the place, and we can't catch the chicken running, the chicken jumping, the chicken flying, the chicken all over the place. We dive after the chicken escape, can't catch the chicken. And when we finally catch the chicken, man, you're out of breath. You're out of breath. The chicken, you get the chicken in your hand, the chicken is fluttering and making a whole heap of noise. Right? But when we finally got hold of the chicken, man, you know how we would butcher that chicken? How we butchered it? We had those old baskets. We shouldn't say old baskets. Those were the baskets that we used to reap coffee, right? The baskets we used to reap coffee. We would get the chicken. We would get the chicken under that basket, get it on the ground, and put the basket over it, right? And then we would pull out the head of the chicken. Somebody would kind of hold the basket down, and somebody would pull out maybe my brother or myself would pull out the head of the chicken, reach on and grab the head and chop off the head. Yes, that's how we used to do it. And the chicken would be under the basket, the headless chicken would be under the basket, fluttering until, life went out of it completely. Yeah. Yes, because if you never had that basket, man, over that chicken would be fluttering all over the yard, all over the yard. Eventually, it would become lifeless. But yeah, even when we were raising chickens at school, when I was in high school and we were raising the chickens, we had a funnel-shaped thing, right? A funnel-shaped chicken. It was, I mean, I know this is not how poultry is butchered or slaughtered or plucked on a large scale. And I've never been to a farm, a modern farm, to see how it is done on a large scale basis. But we would have this funnel shaped thing, when I was in school, and we would turn the chicken upside down in it. It was just big enough to enclose the chicken, funnel shape, upside, right? Push the chicken down in there and cut off the head. So the chicken had no way of fluttering, so the meat did not get bruised or anything like that. But at home, we never had anything like that. We just put a basket over it and chop off the head, and it stay under the basket and flutter until it went lifeless. Yeah, and by that, while all that is happening, we have a big pot of hot water on the fire, a big pot of boiling water, right? And then when the chicken become lifeless, we just hold it by the 2 foot and just dip it in the hot water. Yes, man, dip it in the hot water, and that allowed us to to defeather it, to take off the feathers, so much easier. Yeah, yeah. When we, got off all the feathers, then we would, my parents would pluck it. Now in Jamaica, we ate, we ate the only part of the chicken I think we don't eat the intestines. In some countries, maybe they eat it, but we don't eat the intestines. But we ate the chicken foot. Oh man, chicken foot soup was nice, you know. Um, Even the head, I think, was eaten. Even the head. Yeah, yes. So those are some childhood memories, of chasing the chicken down around the house, catching the chicken and plucking it, and the parents cooking it for a Sunday dinner. Yeah, because we never had the luxury of going to the market all the time to buy, the fresh or the regular broiler type poultry, you know, in the supermarket or wherever. We never had, back in those days, we never had that luxury that much, you know. Growing up in rural Jamaica from a poor family, yeah. So we made do with what we had, and plucking, you know, chasing down a domestic chicken and chopping off the head and, you know, defeathering it and plucking it. That was the norm. That was normal, right? So what were some of your childhood memories? Have you ever had to do anything like that? Have you ever, did you had chickens at home and from time to time you would eat a chicken? How did you pluck it? How did you, what was the method by which you prepared it, How did you butcher the chicken? I love to hear about it. This channel is all about childhood memories and some of the stuff that I did as a kid and some of this, many stuff that I can recall growing up. Many of the stuff that I talk about are just from memory. I'm not, I don't research or go back and, that kind of stuff. I just sit and I look at the camera and as I can recall it, that's how I speak to you, all right? So tell me about some of your childhood memories. Leave some comments in the comment section below, and yeah, I love to hear what it was like for you. Maybe eating a couple of those domestic chickens. Was the meat tough? Did a chicken ever got away from under the basket and end up in the yard and it's just fluttering all over the place? That has happened before with the chicken got away from under the basket. Yes. Anyway, if you like the channel and the stuff that we talk about here, subscribe to the channel. If you like this episode today, don't forget to hit the like button, and yeah, share if you like the video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell after subscribing, so every time I drop a new video, right, you'll be notified. So until we talk again, my name is Source of Food, and be good. Okay, bye.